away we go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome in. The Rob Brown Show is on your radio. What's up, y'all? Happy Monday, amigos y amigas. Welcome in. We are glad to have you. Appreciate you being here. What a weekend of football we had. We're going to break it all down coming up in a minute. But before we do, unfurl the banners. Blast the trumpets. Throw the confetti because the great one has returned. The prodigal son back in the chair. We appreciate the hard work last week of T2, the Timinator. Lonzo's back.
No, I don't appreciate all my stuff being moved. Okay, I come back, everything's moved, including Diesel with his side view camera. You know, I get it. That's your good side, okay? Put stuff back. You know, if I enter a room that's not that somebody else is using before me, I put stuff back. That's what I do. I come in and rearrange everything, including the camera. I don't get the side view. I don't, okay? Yeah, your beard's immaculate, okay? Let people see the front of your beard, not the side of your beard some. And leave my camera alone.
Good to have you back, buddy.
And Tim switched out all my hotkeys. I don't care if I sound like an old man or not. It's not an old man thing. Things are organized to be more efficient and ergonomic, and when people come in and mess with that stuff, it ticks me off.
Somebody stepped on Lonzo's yard this morning.
Leave my stuff alone.
Stay off my lawn.
This is my house, okay?
Lonzo's back. I'm Rob Brown. Glad to have you guys. Welcome in.
I am the elephant in the room.
For the record, Lonzo gets here this morning, right? I'm down in the parking lot with Captain America Chris Evans down the hall because there was a piece of equipment in the Burns remote kit that he needed to take a gander at, and Zoe pulls up.
I thought maybe you bagged a deer or something. You guys were out there. Look at how many points are on this thing.
12 pointer.
Yeah.
So he drops back there, and Zoe pulls up, and he gets out of the car. Now, in fairness, outside of virtual, I haven't seen Lonzo in a week. I'm like, Lonzo, good win for the Chiefs last night. And Lonzo goes, should have been by more. Just marches inside.
Yeah, I want Tom Brady to suffer. So it should have been more.
He's 2-2.
Yeah, he got shown up last night by the better quarterback, but I would like to have seen him look at the sky a few more times.
Patrick Mahomes running the college triple option was spectacular. I enjoyed that so much.
Yeah, that scared me a little. I gotta be honest.
Tell you what, he's got to get credit because dude was sliding, right? He was giving himself up.
He slid another time. He went head first. I was like, "What are you doing? What is wrong with you? Stop doing that." And found a running back last night.
Found a running back, 249, 3 touchdowns through the air for Patrick Mahomes. Chiefs look good. And then there's this, as Steven checks in and says, Matt Rule and Baker Mayfield wasted my Sunday evening.
By the way, I'm sure we're going to get into this not only here, but on the Views from Min Street podcast,
available
which you should,
where major podcasts
should download. But you guys are putting the blame on some partial blame goes there, but the real blame is on the offensive coordinator. That's who you need to blame. That guy is using Coach Klein's offense for dummies.
Mr. Coach Klein?
That's what he's using. Let's throw it to the right. Hey, let's throw it to the right. Hey, let's throw it to the right. Hey, my quarterback, he keeps getting his balls tipped. You know what? Let's keep him in the pocket and throw it to the right. Okay, everybody knew what was coming, especially that defense. So I think Mr. Haircut needs to take a trip somewhere. They've already fired an offensive coordinator in the middle of the season before. I think it's time to do it again.
I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to say, while Ben McAdoo's not impressing me.
Pedestrian as far as play calls go.
To blame that all on play calling, to me.
No, I said partial blame for the head coach, partial blame for Baker, but majority blame goes on McAdoo.
I disagree. I think at the end of the day, you can only do what you can do with an offense that seems as
you know what you can only
hamstrung.
do if you say, hey, do this play. Hey, you know what? That play didn't work. Let's do it again. Hey, you know what? That play didn't work. Let's do it again. I would think, maybe, you know what? Second half, maybe let's run Christian McCaffrey some more. Or maybe one of the other running backs.
Will they have 8 carries for McCaffrey and 13 overall? 13 times they ran the ball. In an NFL game, 13 times they ran the ball.
If I recall, only 2 times in the second half.
Yeah.
What is that, Rob? That's play calling. That's what that is. That is play calling.
That's fair.
You could say that maybe Baker audibled out. Maybe he did. But I don't think so because the way the formations were set up, they weren't set up to run the ball, which means a running play was not called.
They ran the ball 8 times with McCaffrey. They ran the ball 13 times in that game. 13 times. Now, I'll tell you the question that came into my brain, Lonzo, because you and I kind of got into it a little bit on the Friday edition of the Views from Mint Street podcast, available where major podcasts are found. Make sure you download and subscribe the Views from Mint Street podcast for all the Panthers talk you can handle and then some. Last week, McCaffrey touched the ball 25 times. He was targeted 29. If you include targets that did not get to him.
Also in the stats, if I recall, if a play is called back because of penalty, it doesn't go on the stats, right? And McCaffrey had a long run, which was called back, which would make it 30.
So 30 touches. And then he missed 3 days of practice this week dealing with a quad injury, right?
He only missed 2 days of practice. Because Wednesday is a scheduled
limited on Friday.
Wednesday is a scheduled day off. It's still a work, by the way. It's a work.
So McCaffrey has quad issues reported by multiple sources this week. And he lines up and gets 8 carries this week. DJ Moore got a carry. Dante Foreman got a carry. Baker got 2 carries. Laviska Shenault Jr. got 1 carry. Chuba Hubbard did not touch the ball as a running back. Now, I also get it because I think Chuba's got a bit of a dropsies issue going on right now because he had, 2 kickoffs that were in his mitts and he put back on the ground before he finally picked it up.
So I understand this. Obviously, the Panthers were down by a ton at halftime, so they'd come out and they couldn't run the ball, right? Is that what happened? That was sarcasm.
Okay. I was like, no.
If I recall, it was tied. So you come out and do what you do well. That's like run the ball.
Yeah. Cats had a 7-point lead at halftime.
And last I checked, Baker can scramble a little. He can run a little bit. He doesn't have to sit in the pocket. No matter how deep he is, you could roll him out and get him away from those guys who are jumping up in the air. You could do that.
I don't know what to say, man.
I'm going to convince you before this is done that this is Mcadoo.
It's just not good. Whatever it is, it's not good. And even if it is, if you're Matt Rule and you go into halftime and you look down at the run sheet and you've run the ball 7 times in the first half, with the lead, by the way, you run the ball 7 times and a half. Is there not a point that you grab that walkie-talkie up to Ben McAdoo's haircut in the media box and go,
Hey, Ben. Hey, it's Matt. Yeah. Hey, do me a favor. We're gonna need to run the ball more. Over. Hey, Ben. Yeah. One more thing. In case I didn't mention it, run the ball. Over.
Matt Rule says over into his headset.
And McAdoo just has that look on his face like, I know. Let's try this.
You know what's really frustrating about this? Is that
is knowing you've got 13 more weeks of podcasts to do on a team who has the potential to win but refuses to. Is that what's really frustrating? Maybe.
All right, you know what the second most
By the way, I want to
the
powers that be. I want to continue doing the podcast.
Yeah. For the record, the frustration in this is for me the podcast, right? It is the podcast. It is the fact that if the Panther, I'm gonna ride this until it's not true anymore. If the Panthers get good, Rob and Lonzo will make more money, right? It's just how it goes. Somebody this weekend was like, Rob, you're a Panthers fan now? Yeah, I'm a fan of getting paid. And I want y'all to be happy with your football team so that y'all will do stuff involving your football team so that y'all will give them folks money about your football team so that they will give us some of that money. Yes, it is maddeningly frustrating. Maddeningly frustrating.
Yeah, because you said maddeningly. So
Maddeningly frustrating.
Yeah, okay.
The right way to say that word, right?
No, it is. But the way you said it sounded like John Maddenly.
John Maddeningly frustrating to watch this team. A team that's got a 7-point lead at the half and then just falls apart. Baker Mayfield's had 11 passes tipped at the line. Now, I was listening to the game on the way back to the house when J.J. Watt got elevated and tipped that pass that turned into a touchdown. The momentum at that point, despite the fact that Arizona had scored, felt like that game was very much up for grabs. And then it gets tipped and picked and brought back down to the 5-yard line going in. And I'm like, all right, it's J.J. Watt, right? Like, that's what J.J. does. And J.J., if you did not hear, had to get hit earlier in the week with the heart defibrillator because his ticker was out of whack. So they had to pop him with the old chest poppers to get him ready to go. And they had a day. I'm like, of course you did. You took a guy who was already a superhero and then you spiced up his heart a little bit more, right? And I'm like, I can't get mad at that. And then I went back and I'm like rewatching the game and it's like, oh no, that was one of what? How many balls got tipped yesterday, Alonzo? 4? 5? Just in that game?
10,000.
Felt like it. It was just bad, dude. It was just bad. And, we came into this year, I was optimistic about Baker, 22 of 36, 197, a touch and 2 picks. One of those picks was the J.J. Watt tip. I mean, that's not an NHF, right? That's not his fault. If you're the quarterback, you got to elevate the football a little bit. But dude is, of 32 starting quarterbacks, Lonzo, 32nd in overall team quarterback ranking right now. To the point that I think I was as if not higher than everybody else on Baker when he showed up. am now wondering, do we go back to Sam Darnold next week?
I refuse to be a part of the mass mind that says Sam Darnold is better.
I didn't say it was better. I said, do we go back to him? There's a difference.
Maybe we go back to Sam because he's taller, and because he's taller, his balls won't get tipped. I think this is something, I don't know if we can look this up or not, if they keep the stat, but I think balls being batted down are up this year in the NFL. Because in other games, this is happening too, and I don't recall this happening as much as it has this year as far as that goes. I mean, these guys they're jumping up in the air, and they're already like 6'5", 6'6". You jump up in the air, and you get that long wingspan. Doesn't matter how high your delivery is, you're going to get some balls batted down. It's happening more with Baker because of pedestrian play calling, and everyone knows where the ball is going. Has nothing to do with checking down or anything. The only guy getting open is the guy to the right, apparently, whoever that is. Could be someone different every time. And when you're not running the ball, all you got to do is get ready. Well, Baker's going to throw the ball. Just jump up in the air really high.
First off, scoring across the entire NFL is down. All right, I haven't done the numbers this week. In week 3, teams scored an average of 20.8 points. That is the lowest week 3 total in like 20-something years, right? Offenses around the league are down. Now, week 3 was kind of interesting and a little bit skewed, right? Because Kansas City's offense, which is usually good for 40, didn't show up. But the league scoring...
Until last night.
Night.
They showed up last night. They did.
So through this week, and again, I haven't run the numbers for this week yet, but through last week, NFL scoring was down as a whole. Nobody has the offense they've had in years past, and I don't know what that is. I don't know why that is. But even with that number there, I can't utilize that number as an excuse for what's happening with the Panthers right now. They're just bad, dude. They're just bad. They shouldn't be. They got the talent to be, not bad. They've got the talent to be not bad, but they are. And I'm trying to figure out, why that is. Play calling was an issue. I will give Lonzo credit. He is correct. The play calling in the 26-16 loss was bad. I'd like to know, if I was in the presser last night, and I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, there is a part of me, Lonzo, that I may go up to Charlotte for this Panthers-Niners game this weekend, right? Using a press pass, not a ticket. Because if this team does what they did this Sunday, next Sunday, and they run the ball 10, 12, 13 times. Hey, Ben. Rob Brown, Views from Mint Street Podcast, Odyssey Broadcasting. Quick question. Back-to-back weeks that you guys have elected to run the ball fewer than 15 times despite having one of the NFL's better running backs. Question about that. What the hell? That's it. That's the question. You guys have one of the best running backs in the National Football League. What the hell? 13 runs. 13 times they ran the ball. And, it would probably be one of those things, though, if they ran the ball 13 times and Arizona had put up 21 in the first quarter and they were playing down 3 touchdowns. It's like, okay, you got to throw the ball, right? You don't have a choice. Got to throw the ball. They didn't. The Panthers were winning this game at halftime. We're winning this game at halftime. 13 times they ran the football. 13 times they ran the football. And in case you missed it, in case you didn't hear it, let me clear that up one more time. 13 times they ran the football in an NFL game with Christian McCaffrey. Chuba Hubbard had 0 carries. Did I miss something? Did he leave the game hurt or something? Did I?
Not that I'm aware of.
I didn't think so. And I'll check today's injury report. Maybe he after the one of the kickoff returns. I didn't see him. McCaffrey got 8. Bake had 2. Nobody else had more than 1 carry. 13 carries. I'm kind of interested about today's podcast, Lonzo, because I feel like for me, it could just be 45 minutes of me going.
There were a couple positives, but for the most part, they lost, and it's play calling, and I'm sure we're going to get into that. But we also will delve into the new myth, the legend, in the making, Frankie Louvu.
Frankie Louvu.
Trey had the best thing yesterday, the honorary oos.
Frankie's the one.
I don't think he's an honorary oos. I think he could actually be an oos.
Did you see the tweet I put up earlier this morning?
Yes.
Frankie Louvu appreciation thread. Frankie likes hurting people.
Hey.
Be like Frankie.
That was a killer clothesline he put on that dude. It just
JB
yeah, it was
JB
awesome.
Richard decides to be hilarious and send into the show. And that team beat your Saints, Rob. Yeah, I freaking know, Richard.
At least,
thanks, Richard.
At least they didn't defeat him with a bonk. It was a great game, though. It really was. It was a really good game. It was very entertaining. But, man, hit both uprights and bounced the wrong way. If you're in England, though, and you bought a ticket for that, you're like, I was there and I got to see that happen.
For the record, if Andy Dalton had Alvin Kamara or Michael Thomas, Andy Dalton's 1-0 right now, okay? Can we just call that? Can we agree on that? If
We can agree on
Kamara
it, but
or Thomas are there,
but injuries are a part of football.
I agree.
Yeah, so
But still, you give me either one of our 2 offensive Pro Bowl skill players that we're missing, and the Red Rifle is 1-0, and the Saints have a genuine quarterback controversy on their hands.
hey, Odyssey Sports liked the fact that I tweeted that I'm back. I guess that's good. I'm glad that Odyssey Sports is glad.
Texter said Zoe is back, and 10 seconds in, he's already bleeping. So got out of the car and was like, we didn't beat Tampa Bay enough. Should have beat Tom by more.
All right, so my complaining about people moving my stuff, that will never change. Don't move my stuff. But you're glad I'm back, Texter.
James said 2 things. 1, LOL Mets. And 2, I didn't know Kyler was taller than Baker.
All right. To that
I
end,
blame Lonzo for that.
to that end, on our last podcast, we had a guy from Arizona.
Vasquez from the Kickoff in the Valley
Yeah,
podcast.
yeah, and he says to us, I stood next to Kyler. He's 6 foot tall, and it was all I could do to not say anything. And I think that I deserve a medal for not saying, because he didn't believe it. You could tell he did not believe it when he said it. You and I were looking at him, and it's like, dude, I don't want to.
It's kind of interesting.
I don't want to burn a bridge here, so I'm not going to say anything. But don't say that if you can't look like you believe it.
It's kind of interesting because we filled in. I've been in on a couple of other podcasts representing the Panthers so far, and like you have this kind of. It's like a friendly rivalry, but like you want to defend your squad. And when my man Zoe dropped a Kyler Murray is short joke, this guy's like, he's 6 foot tall. He's 6 foot tall. He's 6 foot tall. And we're both like, dog, we own TVs, right? Like we can see him, right?
You know that tell when you're not being entirely truthful or you just don't believe it yourself when you look at the ground. My dude looked at the ground. He looked at the ground. It's like, I want to say something right now, but I have something called restraint and tact, and I will not. I'll save it for the air and talk about it here rather than on the podcast, but still.
All right, we got to take a break. Lonzo's back, and I'm back to my clock management problems.
Yeah, he's 6 foot tall. Right.
I'm like the Ravens up here with my clock management issues. All right, let's take a break. We got a lot to get into. Hey, how about the Georgia Bulldogs not being the #1 team in the country anymore? I know.
Yeah, but the wrong team is #1.
Let's talk about that next on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
My world.
All right, stream, stay right there. Be right back.
Thanks for getting it, Chris. Now, I'm not saying that some blame doesn't go towards Baker, because it does. Some blame doesn't go to Rule, because it absolutely does. But Mcadoo, man, that's beginner-level Madden play calling. It's just ridiculous. Not running the ball at all, or only like twice in the second half, made no sense at all. But I can handle doing the podcast, because I learned how to handle talking about a losing team when Presbyterian decided to move up to the big leagues, and my friend Matt Tomlinson and I had to do the pregame show for a team that won 0 games the entire year, all whilst outside with a train going around us the whole time we were talking. So if you can do that, you can talk about a Panthers team that's not winning. A lot of the reason why is the coaching. If you think Sam Darnold's going to help, he's going to get in there and ghosts are going to be everywhere. That dude's going to get killed. Glad to have you back, Seb.
We have everybody in here on the stream.
It's because I'm back. Because I'm back. That's all.
Here's the thing about Mcadoo. He was a good offensive coordinator, and he's just not now. Say what the frustrating thing about Ben McAdoo is right now. Frustrating thing about Ben McAdoo is Ben McAdoo was, with a capital WASS, was a really good offensive coordinator until he now isn't.
All
until
right.
he now isn't.
Trey says, I saw that you guys were talking about McAdoo's haircut. He has the same hairstyle as Prince Charming on Shrek. I knew it looked familiar. That's it. That's the hairstyle. Absolutely.
Really does.
And yeah, I know McAdoo was touted as being a really good offensive coordinator. Actually, you're the only person I ever heard say that. But that doesn't, that doesn't mean it was wrong. You're just the only person I ever heard say that.
Ben McAdoo took over a Giants offense as the offensive coordinator that was ranked 31st in the league. The next year, 17th. The next year, 7th. All right? The numbers are there. The numbers are there that Ben McAdoo was a good offensive coordinator. What is what's the you ever heard the Peter Principle? You know what the Peter Principle is? The Peter Principle is a theory.
I've heard of the Pleasure Principle by Janet Jackson.
Fair enough. I like that reference.
It's an awesome song.
The
Great video.
Peter Principle is this. Within a hierarchy, people tend to rise to a level of respective incompetence. That is to say, there is somewhere in the ranks in your chosen career, Alonzo, somewhere in the rank, there is a spot where this is what you do. You're just incapable of doing anything above that, right? And that's
So some people really come to mind when you say that.
100%.
Yeah, for sure.
So the theory is this. Let's say in the coaching ranks, there are some people, Dennis Allen, who are you're just a coordinator. That's your level of capability. And you might be a damn good coordinator, but coordinator is that's the level you're capable of, right? And if you show up one day and the first year you're the assistant offensive line coach, and you're there for a couple seasons, and then they go, hey, this guy's a really good assistant offensive line coach. And then you move up to offensive line coach. They go, hey, man, this guy's a good offensive line coach. He's got a brain for football. And then you move up to passing game or run game coordinator, right? And then your numbers go up. And they're like, damn, this guy's pretty good at that.
The Panthers could use one of those.
Yeah, they could. They could just use a run game to coordinate. They bump you up. And then you go from run game coordinator, they go, man, this guy's he's got a really good eye for the ball. Let's make him offensive coordinator, right? So then you get promoted to offensive coordinator, and you do a real good job at OC, and then they go, man, this guy's put together a really good offense as the coordinator. Let's give him a crack at head coach. Peter Principle says there are just some folks who reach the level of competence, and then you get promoted one more, right? And once you get promoted once more, it's like this is it. You've gone past your level of competence, right? You're incompetent. You're incapable of performing the next job. The unfortunate part
sign
of that,
on the door says that I'm this.
right?
Even though I'm not competent to have this.
The end of the line is some point where this is just what you are capable of, right? The problem is you can't know you're incapable of the next step up until you're put into that position. Matt Rule has reached, as far as I'm concerned, a level of evidence that he has hit his Peter Principle limit. He's just not an NFL guy. Outstanding college football coach, right? He's in the Herb category. Outstanding college football coach. Not an NFL guy. It's a different level. It's a higher level. It's a more difficult level to be a successful NFL head coach. Ben Mcadoo is kind of interesting because Peter Principle said that Ben Mcadoo was a good offensive coordinator. And he's got the numbers set in front of him to show you that he is a good offensive coordinator. And then they promoted him to head coach. It was above his level of confidence and capability. Hit the level of head coach. And the wheels came off, right? So then they moved him back to coordinator. Except for now he can't do that. And I am going to start by asking the question, is this on players, right? Is there like some level of blame to go with the players here? Because you've got a coordinator that's shown he can do it. Although Lonzo has a great point, Ben Mcadoo kind of exposed himself a little bit this weekend when you can look, and even novice football fans.
Not in an AB way, but
correct.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Clarification, that's what I do.
Ben Mcadoo kind of metaphorically exposed himself this weekend by calling a game that was just bad. It was just bad, right? So now you went from an offensive coordinator who took over one of the worst two offenses in football as the New York Giants guy, raised them up to inside the top 10 in offensive production, got moved to head coach. They realized that's over his competency level. They moved him back to coordinator, and now as a coordinator, he just ain't got it again. What? How? And I am now convinced that Matt Rule is out of his depth. He just can't do it at this level. And that's okay. Not everybody can. I wouldn't be able to, right? I wouldn't be able to be an NFL head coach. I know football. I wouldn't be able to do it. It's not easy. There's nothing wrong with failing at that job. There's only 32 NFL head coaches in the entire world, and half of them aren't very good, right? There's probably 16 to 18 competent NFL coaches in the world, or at least that have made it to that job. I'm sure there's more. They just haven't found the process to find those guys yet. But Matt Rule's out of his depth. It's just not, he's just not cut out for this job. All right? He's just not cut out for this job. And, you know, there's a part of me is Baker missed a lot of easy throws. The last 2 weeks, even against New Orleans, missed a lot of easy throws in a win. And then he's also made some plays. It's not all on him, but it's partially on him. Robbie and DJ, is there not being involved in the game plan? Is that on Ben McAdoo? Is that on Matt Rule? Is it on them? Are they not getting open? Are they not creating circumstances for Baker to deliver them the ball? The point is, even dudes who know football are watching this tape and going, I don't know. I don't know. And if you hit a spot where you don't know, where you can't say, here's why this team is struggling, here's why this team is falling off, here's why this team is having issues, it's on the head coach. It's on the head coach, right? Somebody's head's got to roll. You go with the top guy.
But here's the problem, though. If you're one of those people on the internet or wherever crying for Matt Rule to be gone, they're going to make Mcadoo the guy for the rest of the season.
Doesn't matter anymore. You're 1-3.
It does matter.
Doesn't matter anymore.
It does matter. I think you got a better shot of winning by getting rid of Mcadoo than you do by Rule. If you're going to get rid of him at the end of the year, fine. But get rid of Mcadoo first.
Listen, that's what's going to happen. David Tepper's not firing him midseason. He's, as far as I'm concerned.
You've already fired an offensive coordinator. Precedence has been set. Fire this offensive coordinator. Hey, bring the line.
What does that accomplish? What does that do for you? It doesn't do anything.
Here's what you do. You bring up the running back coach. You know what he's going to do? The running back coach, he knows running backs. You know what he's going to do? He's going to run the ball. And no, I don't know who it is. You're looking it up. I don't care who it is. Anybody but Mcadoo.
I think by putting it on Ben Mcadoo, it allows you to. It kind of allows you to dispel blame, right? It's like you're looking. Oh, you know who I might move up? Pass game specialist Matt Lombardi. I might move Lombardi there. By creating a situation where you're like, oh, it's the offensive coordinator. I feel like you're kind of letting Matt Rule off the hook. Ben Mcadoo has been the offensive coordinator for the Carolina Panthers for 4 games. Matt Rule's been the coach for 37, of which he's won, what, 11?
By the way, I'm not saying that Matt Rule shouldn't be fired. Yeah, he should be gone because he's not winning. But firing him now would put Mcadoo in charge, more than likely.
You know who takes over?
And that's going to be worse.
You know who takes over? Steve Wilkes. Steve Wilkes.
I'm fine with that.
Steve Wilkes takes over, who's got head coaching experience.
And might actually run the ball. Yeah, but again, if you keep Mcadoo, nothing's going to change. If you get rid of him, maybe you got a shot to win a few more games.
And I guess this is the problem now, is that I'm already rebuilding for 2023. I'm already thinking to 23 because this year's a wash. It's done. It's over. You're not coming back from 1-3 to accomplish anything.
So you're looking at a big time quarterback to come in. Is that what you're doing? What you looking at? You're already rebuilding.
Spin the wheel again. Let's try one more. Why not?
No, I meant as a draft pick.
I mean Matt Corral's right there on the roster.
Yeah, but
it's Matt Corral's year next year.
Yeah, you've got some better quarterbacks coming out next year.
You signing Baker next year? Right now? No, you're not. You bringing Darnold back next year? No, you're not. So you're going to throw another first-round draft pick when you've already got Matt Corral under contract. You're going to carry 2.
By the way, keep this in mind. Keep this in mind. Other than, I think the offensive line is okay. They have the potential to get better. The more they work together, the better they're going to get. Aquanu is going to get better and better. So you've got a decent offensive line now. Why not go out and get the quarterback?
You already got the quarterback.
No, you don't. Matt Corral is not the answer.
Why?
Because he's not.
Why?
Because you got better guys coming out in college.
You don't know that you don't know that at the NFL level. You don't know that at the NFL. Sam Darnold was literally the guy that you were talking about when the New York Jets drafted him. Everybody knew Sam Darnold was the guy.
Not me, because he went to the Jets, and the Jets can't win. Everyone knows that.
He's now not with the Jets. Still hasn't won. Right? I was happy to blame it on Adam Gase, too.
James says we need Jimmy G. You're not getting Jimmy G.
No, you're not getting Jimmy G.
Because San Francisco's like, they're almost glad that you shouldn't be, but they're almost glad that someone got hurt.
That's fact. All right, let's take a break. Come back here in just a minute. Right now, we have got more Carolina talk coming down the pipe. We also got to talk Carolina. Gamecocks. Kentucky looks interesting now, but that Missouri. I'm going to tell you why right now. The mindset of the Gamecocks about that Missouri game and about this week's Kentucky game should be much more optimistic than it was. Talk to you about that coming up. Clemson gets a big win over NC State in a battle of top 10 teams. Defend the house. Let's take a look at our new AP poll. See where they fall or rise. Rob Lonzo, you the Rob Brown Show's on your radio. It's the Fan Upstate.
Completely agree, James.
Will Greer 2.0. You don't know that. You haven't seen him yet.
Everybody was so excited about Will Greer. He's the next guy. He's the guy.
Nobody was was excited about Will Greer.
yeah, they were on these airwaves. Yes, they were on these airwaves.
One guy was excited about Will Greer, and it's because of the logo that was on his helmet.
That might have had something to do with it. I don't know. See, I know because I was there. Every time you take a shot, you're hitting Junior in the forehead. Because people come in here and break our stuff.
Turnaround jumper, buckets.
Not to mention your back was in the way, and people couldn't see that either. It's one of those things where people just want somebody else because they think anybody else is going to be better than what you have. And that's not always the case. You know, the next guy could actually be worse than the guy that's in there. Could actually be worse.
When the guy you've got in there is bad, it's worth the risk.
Well, if the play calling stays the way it is, don't matter who you put in there. Unless you put someone there and goes, I ain't running that play. And they pick their own play.
Yeah, if that is the case, you'll hear that soon. Because after that, Mcadoo would come out and go, hey, look, I called 25 runs. Bake checked out of 12 of them. What do you want from me?
Mcadoo just, even in his press conference, he's just kind of smiling like, I'm getting paid, man. I'm getting paid. Yeah, Steven, I love how the field was painted too. That was really cool.
It was a good look. Bring back the 90s graffiti look.
Don't say that, James. You still make some people angry.
Are you a hot chocolate guy?
I am. As long as it's chocolatey and doesn't just taste like hot water.
Swiss Miss just released salted caramel flavored hot chocolate.
I bet it has an aftertaste.
Of salt?
No, more I don't know. I'm willing to give it a shot, though.
I'd try it.
The only thing is, hot chocolate reminds me of snow. Snow reminds me of why I moved here, to get away from snow.
almost time to put our number one to bed. How about it? What a day. Gonna be packed up, gonna be locked up. How about your new AP Top 25, the Georgia Bulldogs, after a scare against Mizzou, have now dropped to number 2. And back on top of the polls, your Alabama Crimson Tide, after a big win over Archie at 5-0, jump up to the top, staying at number 3. But, Lonzo, picking up 7 first-place votes in the process, are your Ohio State Buckeyes. So Bama 1, Georgia 2, Ohio State 3, Michigan 4. They jump Clemson, who sticks at 5.
Wow, 2 SEC teams and 2 Big Ten teams.
Sure is. Sure is. Your playoff right now, this will change, obviously, is 2 SEC, 2 Big Ten. Now, Michigan and Ohio State do play each other. Bama and Georgia do not play each other in the regular season this year, so that will be an SEC championship that will determine which of those will go to number 1 if they both win out between here and there. The Bulldogs of Georgia needed a comeback late to get over the 2-3 Missouri Tigers, who fall to 0-2 in the conference. Stetson Bennett the fourth, 24-43, 312, no touchdowns, no picks. It was Kendall Milton in his 1 touchdown and Dejon Edwards in his 1 touchdown that were able to put him up on the board for the Bulldogs. Brady Cook, 20 of 32, 192, and a touch against Georgia. I did not expect this out of the Georgia Bulldogs, but I do kind of wonder, was this their lesson game, right? Was this their lesson game? They put up 49 on Oregon, a top 11 team. They blanked Samford 33-0. They beat the hell out of the Gamecocks 48-7. They gave up 22 to Kent State. But at that point, I think Georgia was kind of starting to look ahead a little bit, right? Like, nobody's afraid of Kent State. Nobody was worried about the Golden Flashes. So I'm not shocked that Georgia didn't cover the spread on that. The Mizzou game is a bit of a shock to Georgia. And my question is, what does this mean? Does this mean that I was wrong about Georgia? Does this mean that maybe the 5-0 Dogs aren't quite as good as I said they were going to be, right? Remember after South Carolina dropping 48-7 to the Dogs, I said, don't worry about it, Gamecocks. Georgia is going to beat a lot of teams by 40 this year. They're going to smoke a lot of teams by 40. Well, they beat Kent State by 17, and they needed a miracle comeback to knock off Mizzou 26-22. Did I overinflate the Dogs?
Maybe they're believing their hype. Maybe that's all it is.
And that was my question.
Yeah. I mean, it could be that there's just believing their hype.
Did they read their own press clippings? Did Georgia start listening to the Rob Brown show and go, Rob's right. We are them Dogs. We do got that dog in us, right? Because 39-22 to Kent State, 26-22 to Mizzou, certainly does not feel like one of the most dominant teams in college football. Granted, Mizzou's Super Bowl, and it was at home, right? But it was also South Carolina's, and they beat them by 41. What happened? This Saturday, they're at Auburn. Back home for Auburn. Brian Harson's coaching for his job. Is that game more interesting to you now? Keegan said just wait until Saturday when Auburn beats them. LOL, couldn't even type that with a straight face. I don't know, man. Harson's coaching for his job. Does that change it up a little bit? Let's talk some college football when we come back. Rob Alonzo and you on the Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate.
Oh, Clemson. all the time.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba.
What you doing?
My favorite tweet of the day. TikTok Auburn. TikTok Auburn. That's fantastic.
Like I said, when I had to do those things will last forever. I'll hear my voice doing those forever.
Dale.
And I hate those. Dale.
Raise hail, praise Dale.
Call Dale. He'll get you a computer. He sells them out the back of his truck.
He'll get you a pooter.
It might be like an Apple IIe or a Commodore 64.
But it's a pooter.
And it's functional. Sort of. I don't get it.
You don't get this. You don't get the show.
And then he leaves. And I don't know why he left, because he really needs to be back. But, you know. You know, while on vacation, I never had to add anything the entire time, I don't think. All my stuff is messed up. I'm so glad that someone, and I know who did it, put WO on this mouse. So, because apparently that someone must look at the mice before they use them instead of just reaching their hand over there.
Mice are mouses when it's computer.
Mises. I'm gonna get used, Mises.
So I want to thank the folks over there at Furman. My man Drew and Co. hosted Mark Ryan and I on Saturday, along with our grand prize winner Ty. If you missed it last week, and I suspect it won't be the last and only time we do this, last week we gave away 10 pairs of tickets to the Furman game and entered those 10 winners into a grand prize drawing. And so for that game, we showed up on Saturday. Ty got an opportunity to take a tour of the press box, of the president's luxury box. And then, before the game started, they brought us down onto the field. And they introduced us to the crowd. They put the Fan Upstate logo up on the video board. Ty got to come out there with us. And we watched the first quarter of the game from field level. And then got the chance to go up and finish the game up in the president's box. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, Furman football is a freaking good time, dude. It was a good time. Not only was it a whale of a football game against a good Samford team, they did fall to Samford after Samford put up a pair of touchdowns in the third, 34-27, your final. Furman put up 10 in the fourth frame, trying to climb back into that thing. But there were a couple of turnovers, including one that was, I've never seen this happen before, Lonzo. Samford receiver catches the ball. He turns upfield. He gets wrecked by a Furman defender. I mean, like, folded in half. The Furman defender takes the ball out of the hands of the Samford receiver and then goes to the ground. Should be a turnover. Initially, the referee signals down by contact, which doesn't make sense because the receiver got hit and the Paladin defensive back took the ball. It was bang, bang. Referee calls down by contact. They go to the replay booth. First off, if you've ever wondered what the inside of the replay hood looks like, I know, because if you go back and watch that game, you'll see me. I was standing me to you from where they do the replay, and I'm like, look, dude, move over. Let me see what's in there. They go to replay.
Why didn't you just walk up and stick your head in there with them?
Because they were on the field. I couldn't go on the field, but I definitely was like leaning over. I was very close to becoming a Snickers commercial. That is correct. So they go to the replay. They come out. After about 5 minutes of replay review, the white hat walks onto the field, and he goes, after reviewing the play, the ruling on the field is overturned. The wide receiver lost contact to the football. It was clearly recovered by the Paladins. First down, purple. I'm like, dope. Love that. That's big time. That's big. That's a big turnover. Then the Paladin offense steps onto the field. The Samford defense steps onto the field, and the referees stop them. They're like, hold up, wait a minute. And we just wait, and we wait, and we wait, and we wait, and we wait. And the referees are talking to the Samford coaches, and they're talking to Clay Hendricks of Furman, and they go back and forth. And then the replay guy comes back out onto the field. I'm like, wait, well, are we Are we replaying the replay? They did. They took a second video replay challenge, and this time they overturned it. And the ref said, after further review, the ruling on the field has been upheld. The Samford player was down by contact or down by forward momentum. It will remain a Samford football. 3 plays later, Samford sticks it in the end zone. They score. 7-point ball game. That was the difference.
Which was the right call?
The first replay review.
Okay.
Not the replay review of the replay review. Right? It was very clear. Like, we're on the sideline, and even on Team Paladin there. Even on Team Paladin, it was very evident. The player got popped. The ball came out. The Furman defensive back recovered it, went to the ground with it, came up with it. Very clear. I genuinely don't understand what happened there. But outside of the final score, the Furman game was a blast, man. Those guys do a lot of work. This is actually really cool. I've never seen this before. I'm sure it happens elsewhere, but I've never experienced it. So one thing they do is there is a section down at the end of Paladin Stadium. It's a grass hill, like a bowl. You know, it's a grass hill that wraps around the stadium. And in that little grass knoll, that little grass hill they have at the end of Furman Paladin Stadium, they will allow the students to have their own independent tailgate party, right? And they're in the stadium. So the kids can show up, set up their tables and chairs and their barbecue grills and their coolers, and they can tailgate, but it's at the game, right? And I'm like, I was talking to the guys on the sideline, like, yeah, it's kind of cool because it lets us monitor the tailgate so things don't get out of hand, but it also gets the kids to the game because there are a lot of kids who will tailgate a game but then not go to the game, right? I saw that when I went to college. They'll tailgate the game, but they won't go to the game. This is a way, you're at the tailgate, you're at the game. I thought it was great. And then up in the stands, man, the fans that were there were full throat. It was fantastic. They have energy. They've got passion. But they make it a super family-friendly event. And if you want to get to a football game, and you can't make the ride to Columbia, you can't make the ride to Clemson, maybe you feel like you've been priced out of college football, go see a Furman game. Now, those guys did great work. I appreciate Drew and Drew Ingram and my man Rob, Jason, all those guys over there did a spectacular job, and I will be getting to more Furman. That was my first Furman game. It's fantastic. I also acquired, and I'll have to wear it this week, I also acquired my new favorite piece of gear, and I got to give props to Furman. Mark and I had a whole conversation about this on the sideline. I've got to give props to Furman for deciding to not be haughty and lean into it. I bought a purple sweatshirt, Zoe, that just says FU across the front of it.
Of course you did.
Of course I did. It's spectacular.
Yeah, Mark probably already owns like 5 of them.
Mark had the FU all the time hat. And I we were talking about.
And giggled after he put it on, I'm
100%,
sure. You both were giggling.
Your judgment's irrelevant to me.
I know, but you're not denying that you giggled.
Not at all. I wondered how far Furman would lean into that phrase. That's how far, Lonzo.
Yeah, I already knew that. But yeah, that's...
The Paladin football players, you know, on the back of the helmet down at the bottom of the neck, they have that rubber piece that runs along the back, so if the helmet comes back, you don't get metal into skin. You know how a lot of teams, like, they'll put a phrase on there, like the NFL guys all have, like, end racism or whatever across the back of it? Furman leaned full in, and the back of the football players' helmets all say FU all the time. You know what I love about this squad? What I love about this program? This program is like, hey, if you want to be in, you're in. They've got everybody in on this. There were FU all the time shirts and hats and hoodies. And I don't know, man. Like it was one of, it felt like from the outside looking in, one of the most unified college football sidelines I've been on. Not the biggest, but it was great. So if you feel like you have been priced out of college football, or getting to Columbia or Clemson on a Saturday is a big ask, maybe you don't feel like having to walk through 85,000 people to get to a game and back, dig a Furman game, man. Hit a Dins game. It was a blast. It was a blast. All right, let's get some stuff in here. We talked about your AP Top 25 poll. Bama is number 1 after their win this weekend and Georgia's struggle against Mizzou. The Dogs have been replaced by the Tide up top. Question mark about this. Bryce Young left the game after just 13 passing efforts, 7 of 13, 173, a touch and a pick. Had to leave the game due to a shoulder injury. Jalen Milroe came in spell, 4 of 9, 65 yards and a touchdown. The rushing attack. How about Jahmyr Gibbs? 18 totes, 206 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
That's not bad. It's not bad at all. Maybe the Panthers need to look at that. That's what you do. You run the ball.
Speaking of Jalen Milroe, 6 carries, 91 yards, and a touchdown, including a 77-yarder.
That's not a bad average.
That's
either.
a quarterback. That's a quarterback, man. That's my quarterback, man. 6 carries, 91 yards, 4 of 9 through the air, 65, a touchdown on the ground and through the air. 206 for Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm going to tell you right now, if Alabama has found their next Eddie Lacy, Mark Ingram, Georgia better keep an eyeball turned to Tuscaloosa.
I am curious.
I don't know why I got Southern as hell saying that.
I don't know. It was more
SEC.
No, you're going Alabama all the way.
SEC.
Yeah, I don't know why you haven't rolled the Tide yet.
They got a gosh darn running back, Lonzo. They running football.
If the playoffs were to happen right now, are you going all SEC to win? So you think Georgia beats Ohio State and Alabama beats Michigan?
I'm not as comfortable saying Georgia beats Ohio State, but Alabama smokes Michigan. Alabama beats Michigan by 27 right now. Right now. Has Alabama... So Alabama had, obviously, that very tough game. What was the final score? 2019 at Texas, right? And that's a 1-1 Texas team. Excuse me, 1-1. That is a 3-2 Texas team. 1-1 at the time. That also lost to Texas Tech in a weird way, but lost 37-34. They've got wins over La Monroe, UTSA, and Almost Heaven, West Virginia. Which, by the way, we need to talk about that song later. Remind me about that. Somebody showed me something that I need to ask your opinion on about that song. Was
it the person who you were talking to earlier?
No, it was not.
Okay.
Surprisingly enough, though it would come from them, and I would be unsurprised. So, does that close game and 1-point win over Texas at Texas look as bad, Zoe, as Georgia going to Mizzou and having to scrape one out in the fourth quarter against the Tigers?
Well, it's all SEC or will be. So I think the Mizzou thing is probably
looks worse.
Yeah, because of this point in the season, and Georgia is already looking like. But Alabama had their scare already too. But still, Georgia looked like they were rolling, and then suddenly it's like, wait a minute, Georgia is losing? That can't be right.
They weren't just losing; they were losing and couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah, and I had that problem over the weekend where Disney and Dish decided to fight, and they pulled.
Bill, you were in that group.
Yeah, they pulled all of it right
on Saturday morning at kickoff.
They did, but what's good for me is the Big Ten's rights went to Fox.
Yeah.
So I was still good as far as that goes, but I did miss some things. It's back now. I don't know who caved.
They did put it back
this
up.
morning. It was back on. Yeah, but I mean, it was a power move. Whoever's right or whoever's wrong, it was a power move doing it on Saturday morning.
At kickoff,
yeah,
just about.
Yeah, because it was there Friday night, and Saturday morning it was gone. And I was like, oh, okay.
So basically what I got told was that ESPN wants Dish to pay more for their rights, and Dish was like, the only way to do that is to raise the price of
Right.
every subscriber,
So
only like 20% of people use ESPN.
So whenever something is taken off a Dish Network, the CEO will go on and talk, and you can watch. And what he said is that Disney Plus is failing, and because it's failing, Disney is trying to make up money elsewhere.
ESPN.
So they're they wanted Dish to pay $1 billion for the rights. It's not just, it was ESPN and Disney and FX. So all those channels were gone, every single one of them. And that means the SEC network was gone, and so was the ACC network. Big Ten network was still there because they went to Fox. But it's all back this morning. So I don't know if Dish caved or where the CEO went, they want us to do this, and just called them out about Disney Plus failing. I blamed it all Saturday night on Boba Fett. I think that's what it was. But still, they spend all this money, according to him, on their Disney Plus stuff, and people aren't buying enough subscriptions, so they have to overcharge everybody else.
Yeah. So the talk going around the amigos that I have that are still in the television world basically said that ESPN was upping the price that they wanted Dish to pay to carry. The problem is that Dish looked at ESPN and was like, yo, hold up. Like 22% of our Dish subscribers watch ESPN for any significant amount of time, right? Because they can track the metrics on what you're watching and when.
Well, I don't watch it nearly as much because it's gotten so political. I will watch the football games, but as far as shows goes, it's still way too biased towards some things. And I will tune into ESPN to find out who they're going after. You know, what player they've decided this is our guy this year. We're going to go after him full on, or who they're going to praise. Josh Allen. I will watch that, but just for brief moments. But I watch it for football.
Yeah, I do too. I don't need 37 debate shows every day, right? Like, give me some. Dan Orlovsky has done a great job Xing and O'ing football, like breaking down football. I would watch a 30-minute show of Orlovsky just using his gigantic ass telestrator, his wall-sized telestrator, to break down football. I enjoy that immensely. I don't need another day of Stephen A. versus Mike Irvin in a who can yell louder off. I'm over it.
It's ironic coming from you, but still.
Right, but when I yell louder, it's to entertain you, not to be the smartest guy in the room.
Have you met either one of those guys? I'm curious.
I met Mike Irvin 10 years ago or so.
I'm just wondering, do you think you got a shot? I mean, if you guys were to have a yelling match between the three of you guys, do you think you got a shot?
Yeah. The difference is it's not about the volume. It's about your unwillingness to stop talking, right? There's a difference.
I don't know. Stephen A., I think, would give you more of a run for your money. I think Michael Irvin eventually would be inaudible. He would just go. It would just start being, not really words.
Stephen A. just gets to the point where he needs. I know him personally. He texts me. I know him personally, and it's like, Steve.
He slows his cadence down so he gets a little more volume and saves his voice a little bit more.
Well, he knows what he's doing because it's a last word off, right? Like, it's not so much about the volume as who's going to be the last one talking. And when Stephen A. And by the way, he's made a whole freaking multi-million-dollar career out of it. I can't hate him for it. It clearly works. But it's just about, like, who's talking. Like, anyway, blah, blah, blah. The point of
we're not getting political here, James, but the quiet voices are the people you need to worry about.
The ESPN's running, like, 9 debate shows a day. It's like, guys, like, remember a couple of years ago, Zoe, when for like 6 months, ESPN tried to change their slogan to embrace debate. Remember that?
What was the show with Michelle Beadle and Colin Cowherd when they both were relevant?
Sports Nation.
Yeah, that was entertaining.
Sports Nation was good.
And then they both thought they were more than what they are, and now,
Well, I mean, Colin, it worked out for him.
Well, there are some people who worship the ground he walks on. I don't get it. Yeah, but still.
And I love Beadle, but Beadle just wanted to start doing NBA stuff and getting into where, like, she was in control of what she said, which is fine. She seems very happy. She's doing an NBA podcast now. She gets a lot of guests. Like, she's doing great work. But Sports Nation was probably the last two-personality show that ESPN ran that I actually enjoyed because it felt like a show I would produce, right?
Yeah.
It was just kind of chaotic.
Because it was chaos. It was fun. And, and then they just stopped doing shows like that.
Yeah, now it's just like, hey, what if we put these two really loud guys at a desk, had a hot chick stand between them and be like, Aaron Judge, go. I think Aaron Judge is the best. No, he's the second best. No, he's the absolute best. Well, I know Aaron Judge personally, and he's the best. It's not a show, my guys. It's not a show. Does nothing for me. Texter said, and I brought up Aaron Judge because Texter said they're trying to cram debate shows down your throat like Aaron Judge at bats.
I have seen more complaints about that than I've seen in a long time.
They did it during the FSU Wake Forest game, which was a pretty good game, right? FSU Wake's pretty good. FSU comes out, scores on the opening drive. Everybody's like, uh-oh. And then, oh, my God. That Wake Forest offense is infuriating. All right, we'll talk about that later. Then anyway, it gets to be like third quarter, I think. FSU's got the ball, backs against the wall. They're driving. And then they just cut the volume to the game and start showing Aaron Judge at bat. And, like, I don't care because I'm invested in it. Like, I'm enjoying Aaron's quest for 62. I've enjoyed watching it. So I'm like, cool, man. I'm glad I got to see this without having to flip the channels back and forth. Because YouTube TV is still not giving me an option to click last viewed channel. They'll fix that one day. I'm like, glad I get to watch it. And then my social media feed of all my Florida friends are just losing their minds about it. I don't care about Aaron Judge.
Chasing history, man. You don't care about him chasing history?
I do. I loved it. Hey.
Yeah, but apparently, I don't know if you knew this, but college football is more important than him chasing history.
And everything else. By the way, speaking of baseball, speaking of history, back in July, the Atlanta Braves found themselves in a 10.5 game hole to the New York Mets. Rob Brown was standing on the ledge. Lonzo had grabbed me by my hoodie and was trying to pull me back off of that blue and red ledge.
Like a Brent Venables get-back coach.
Since June 1st, when the New York Mets held a 10.5 game lead over the Braves, the Braves have won 5 of 6 against the Mets, swept the Mets this weekend, have outscored the Mets 42-19 in baseball, and now hold a 2-game lead over the Mets and a magic number of 1. The Braves have 3 games remaining on their schedule. They need to win 1 of them, and they will win the National League East. They got the Marlins today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. Sandy Alcantara, the Cy Young winner, has been shut down, meaning they will face the back end of the Marlins rotation. The Braves can do anything but go 0-3 against Miami and win the National League East.
I'm going to risk you throwing the ball at me, but it's October. Why is baseball still on?
It's playoff baseball, baby. There's nothing better. Until playoff baseball's over, and then it's college football, and there's nothing better. Let's take a break. Back after this, the Rob Brown Show's on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. All right, right back. Stream, hang out for. we back. We back.
No move. Hey, Frankie.
Guy put up on, or Maria Santora put up on Twitter the quote from Baker when he was asked about the fans booing, when he said, "I don't really care that our fans are booing us." And the first response from a Twitter was, "I'm surprised this answer wasn't swatted down at the line." The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. I am Rob Brown, the great one Lonzo here as well. Be a part of the show. 844-FAN phone, 844-FANFONE. That's 844-326-3663. You can text us on the Preferred Home Services text line at 71307, 71307. Start your text with FAN. F-A-N. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N. So, we were talking about the Aaron Judge live cut-ins there a second ago. And how, as Lonzo pointed out, freaking mad everybody seemed to get when they kept cutting into football games for live looks at Aaron Judge chasing history and trying to top Roger Maris's 61 single-season home runs in the American League. And if you are a I don't count roids guy, trying to chase down what would be the all-time most home runs in a single season by anybody who is not juiced.
Trying to watch my daggum Razorbacks, and what you doing? Don't care about no baseball.
Suey! Aaron Judge has 3 regular season games remaining. They play tomorrow at the Rangers at 2:05, at the Rangers at 8:05 in the back end of a doubleheader, and then a 4:05 game on Wednesday. Aaron Judge needs to go 1 dinger between those 3, so he's sitting on 14 to 15 more at-bats, unless we go extra innings in any of them. 14 to 15 more at-bats to get it. I suspect we will not go extra innings in any of them because the Yankees are already locked in as your 2 seed in the American League. The AL road goes through H-Town, but they have secured the 2nd seed by some distance. AL Central won by the Guardians at 90 wins. The Yankees have 97. The Jays cannot catch them with 90 wins. So, you'll probably get Aaron Judge at the dish a number of times, but I doubt they're going to go like hardcore in trying to run it down. Anyway, in the Facebook stream, which check out the Facebook stream at facebook.com/thefanupstate, twitter.com/thefanupstate, twitter.com/the Rob Brown Show, twitter.com/Lonzo on Word, on Twitch by subscribing to the Rob Brown Show, or on YouTube by subscribing to the Rob Brown Show. Trey popped up when we were talking about the cutaways to Judge and said, seems like they did the same thing with Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire when they were chasing after 61. Yes, the summer of 98. Arguably the best summer that baseball has ever had, right? Couple of things about it. Number one, the overwhelming majority of that chase was taking place not during football games. But number two, was it not more compelling because it wasn't just Big Mac and Slammin' Sammy chasing down a guy who had been dead for a very long time, but running against each other, right? It wasn't just a chase to 61. It was a race to 61 between 2 of the most well-known power hitters in baseball history, right? Pre the cheating scandals, pre the roids, pre the corked bat of Sammy Sosa.
Also, pre-social media.
And pre-social media.
So you didn't have all the whining and crying that you're getting now online because online wasn't there.
Yeah, no Twitter in 98.
No Facebook either.
No Facebook in 98. That's right. Rob Brown was in 8th grade when this was happening.
I don't know if MySpace existed then or not. I'm going to find out.
That's a great question. But the point is, look, you had
MySpace 2003. So no, it didn't exist either.
Yeah. So you had not just a chase to 61, but a race between 2 of the most popular baseball players in the game at the time. in Big Mac and slamming Sammy Sosa, right? Aaron Judge has a few things going against him that is causing all of this blowback. Number one, when you look at Aaron Judge as a 6'7", 280-pound raking machine, it almost kind of feels like he's cheating. He's not that we're aware of, right? He hasn't been popped by any roid test, and I promise you he's gotten them this year. It almost feels like he's cheating. Like you're 6'7", 285.
But see, that's the problem. And yeah, he is huge and all that kind of stuff. He absolutely is. But I think most people, or a lot of people, are tainted by that whole scandal. So when you hear something like this, you think, it's not really legit. It's not.
I get it.
I mean, there's doubt in my mind, and I hate that. And I've seen how much bigger he is than everybody else. If anyone could do what's being done without any help, it's Aaron Judge.
Aaron Judge is a professional wrestler. He's just a machine, man. He's just a machine. And so I get to look at him. It almost feels like, you better be doing this, right? Second thing going against Aaron Judge is that he's a Yankee, right? No one outside of Yankees fans wants to see good things happen to the Yankees, right? Like the Seattle Mariners have been chasing down a playoff spot. I am not a Seattle Mariner fan. I've never been to Seattle. It's on the list, but I've never been there. I have been pulling for the Seattle Mariners. And I've been pulling for the Seattle Mariners because they're young, they've got juice, they're fun, they're energetic, they're well built from the inside out. I have pulled for the Seattle Mariners despite not liking them. Nobody's pulling for the Yankees unless you're a Yankees fan. Everybody hates the Yankees. If Aaron Judge was doing the same thing, but he was a San Francisco Giant or a Chicago Cub or a Seattle Mariner, I think you'd have a lot more of America in his back pocket that was excited by it, right? But nobody wants good things to happen to Yankees. And because nobody wants good things to happen to Yankees, Aaron Judge kind of gets what he's accomplishing pushed to the back seat. And then the third thing that I think is creating this blowback against Aaron Judge is, as we mentioned, he's not up against anybody, right? Like he's up against Roger Maris. When did Roger Maris play his last game? Does anybody know off the top of your head? Let's see here. Roger Maris made his major league debut in 1957. He died in 1985. Like, nobody, scratch that. No young folks alive today, like big Maris guys, right? I can tell you this. I know the importance of Roger Maris to baseball, Lonzo. I don't know that even on YouTube I've ever seen a Roger Maris at bat.
I don't know. Maybe the guys on the DA show, because they're big time baseball guys. Yeah. Maybe guys that are big time baseball that had it ever since, their dad taught them and his dad taught him and all that stuff.
Solid maybe.
Yeah.
Solid maybe. But it's not like Aaron Judge is chasing down a guy we know, right? Now I think it probably gets more play if he would have threatened 71, if he'd have threatened Mark McGwire, right? Like if he was trying to chase down Big Mac and he was trying to chase down Mark McGwire, which would create a situation where we were like there was the drama of a clean player trying to take the record from a dirty player. Are you a little more invested if he's trying to take the record away from a roider? I probably would be.
See, I'm not that guy. If I hear someone's going to break a record, I want to see them break the record. because you're witnessing history.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even if it's a sport that I don't follow, if I find out, hey, they're getting ready to break this, I want to see it.
Let me ask you this. Last night, Chiefs-Bucks, right? This is, or at least we thought it was going to be, although I got to tell you, I've lost a lot of faith in Tampa Bay at 2-2. If they had cut into Chiefs-Bucks during a Mahomes drive, they'll be like, hey, we're not going to take you away from the game. We're going to put it over on the left-hand side of the screen, but we are going to take the audio off the game, and we're going to let you listen to John Sterling call Aaron Judge's at-bat in case he hit 62. Would that have peeved you?
Wait. So I get John Sterling, who I'm not real familiar with. I probably would be if I was a baseball fan, or Chris Collinsworth. No, I'm not going to be ticked because it takes Chris Collinsworth off the air. Why would I be mad about that?
All right, listen. I get why players hate Chris Collinsworth. Why do regular fans hate Collinsworth so much? Like, why do you hate Chris Collinsworth?
There's I think part of it's the arrogance.
Yeah?
There is an arrogance to him that's palpable.
Yeah, but
that's
why
just,
wouldn't they be?
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
he's an incredibly intelligent football guy. He played the game at the highest level.
By the way,
and
I
he's
don't-
getting paid millions of dollars to talk about games. Why would he be
I'm
arrogant?
not mad that his son's getting a push. A lot of people get mad about that. Nepotism, it's life. Good for him. But yeah, I've never liked Collinsworth. Didn't like him when he was playing. Just don't. So I don't think he's top 5 color guy in football right now. Do you think he's top 5 color guy in football?
I mean, it depends on your on how you mean it. Do I mean like
In
is
the
he
NFL.
top 5 at breaking down football? Hell yeah.
Yeah.
He's very good at it.
Yeah, he's
Is there an arrogance? Yes.
yeah, but he's kind of a front runner, whatever's popular now type guy, and it's annoying.
I don't know. I get the arrogance. I also know that if I was in his position, I don't know that it's arrogance so much as, hey, they're paying me $12 million a year to do this. I must be pretty good at it, right? How many times have you and I said, there are 2 things you have to have if you want to last on the air. Number 1, a very thick skin, and number 2, a level of ego. Every time I open this broadcast at 9 a.m., I have to be convinced that there are people around the upstate that tune in to let me entertain them and that I'm entertaining enough to do it. Imagine me, but nationally. Hell yeah, I got an ego. Are you kidding me?
It's different though. It is different.
I get it. Texter said, I'd be okay if they left the audio. And I get that. The problem is the reason you go to that is not just to see the home run. It's to have the experience of the play-by-play guy walking you through what's happening.
Yeah. I want to hear him calling that play. And as far as someone doing color or play-by-play on football, it's not necessary for right then. I mean, you can look. So the play that Mahomes did last night when he was near the spin move, and then
jump shot touchdown.
Did you need audio for that? I don't need audio
it's
for
pretty
that.
spectacular.
Yeah, I mean that's magic
freaking
right there.
spectacular.
If that happens at the same time that Aaron Judge is on the screen, I'm probably going to miss the Aaron Judge thing even with the audio because Mahomes is down there near the end zone.
God, if both of those would have happened at the same time, it would have been the greatest TV sports moment.
Oh, it would have been cool. But I wouldn't get mad like some people are about. It's not like you're ending the game early for Heidi. I mean, it's not like that.
The hills are alive. Okay.
That's a different movie, I believe.
No, it was. They went to Sound of Music.
Oh, I thought they went to Heidi.
No, they went to Sound of
I'm
Music.
pretty sure they went to Heidi.
Look it up. I'm pretty sure it's Sound of Music. I could be wrong. You might be right. The famous Jets game getting booted, I'm pretty sure it was Sound of Music. I might be wrong. It happens like 3 times a year. Anyway, they got to go audio, right? Like, you got to have the call of John Sterling going, and he's guilty of breaking the record, the judge.
TV viewers became outraged as football game is cut off to air Heidi on November 17, 1968. The Oakland Raiders scored 2 touchdowns in 9 seconds to beat the New York Jets.
Ooh. Okay, good call. Good eye. Good eye.
By the way, 68, I was born. So it wasn't like I saw the game. I was born in 68, but I know about that game.
I was Not a glimmer in my parents' eye yet.
Were your parents born?
Yeah. Oh, that's a great question.
Probably
I
not.
don't know the answer to that. I'll have to look.
You don't know how old your
How old are you?
54.
Yes. My mom just turned 60.
Okay. All right.
All right. So, Texter said, I don't believe as many people will be mad if they put the split screen up and kept the audio with the football game until he hit the home run. I said, as a play-by-play guy, your initial take is like the initial excitement is as a thing. And from a baseball perspective, you can't really tell this from the camera angle on TV, but in a baseball stadium, when a guy gets a hold of one that you know's gone, from behind the dish, you can see it, and and you're going to get ramped up for it, right? I think you got to have the audio. I just love how people were getting angry about it, like genuinely angry. I'm like, how long is it at bat? Like 3 minutes? Tops? 3 minutes if he strikes out? Tops?
By the way, a Panther fan has just tweeted, we need a new head coach, quarterback, offensive coordinator, tight end, a second defensive end, and a slot wide receiver.
Got quite the shopping list for this offseason.
Also, James doesn't like Collinsworth.
In Super Bowl 52, Collinsworth appeared to be cheering for the Patriots and questioned every call that went in favor of the Eagles. So I hate his guts, quote unquote. I will tell you this one more thing from a broadcaster's perspective, and then we got to take a break. Wait, no. Are we this late? It's on me. Okay. Not every announcer hates your team. It's just that because they don't have on your colored glasses, you think they do. Except Collinsworth. He actually hates your team. Back after this to put a very brief cap on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Maybe.
That's my fault.
No, it's not. It's me.
No. It's my job to keep you on time, and it's my first day back from vacation, and I was just having a good time and not watching the clock, so.
Damn right they did, sports announcer guy.
So we can come back for about a minute. Which is why we need to come back for at least a minute, maybe two. We can go two. I guess I'm just optimistic. I think Carolina's still going to win a couple more games. We're only, a fourth of the way through the season? Things can be salvaged to a degree. Jay, when you come back from vacation and you're just like, you're kind of glad to be back and you're just not paying attention and, you know. All right, so we can go a couple minutes.
Okay.
We can go to like 54.
Okay.
Try to pay more attention in the next hour. I won't, but I'll try. By the way, we already made picks this weekend for Nerf Wall. We will make them Thursday on this show. People still hoping that you lose. I just want you to know that.
Oh, I'm sure. I don't know how I became the...
Oh, come on. You know.
I do. I enjoy it. All right, putting a bow very quickly on this hour of the radio broadcast. Couple more things I want to get into today. I want to get into a little bit more detail on the Cardinal-Panthers game. Of course, if you want extreme details on the Cardinals-Panthers game, you need to download and subscribe to the Views from Mint Street podcast. Right after the show today, Lonzo and I are going to lay down our reaction pod. We will take a look back at that game and give you our thoughts on it, break it down as we still got it fresh in the brain. On Wednesdays, we drop our midweek pod. That's got all the news and notes and transactions and whatnot. And then on Fridays, we drop our preview pod. That's where we preview the next upcoming game for the Panthers. So if you're a Panthers fan...
By the way, real quick, I just want to point out that last couple of weeks we've been able to hook up with some guys from the other team's podcast, and that's a lot of fun.
It is, and we will try to do it again this week.
Because I just want to see what the guys look like in another state as far as radio guys and how they talk and all that kind of stuff. I'm interested in that, because if you ever do your job and think, I wonder what the guy over in Arizona, how he does his job, and then you get to see it. It's cool.
Well, we will be talking to some San Francisco folks coming up on the Friday edition of the pod, so we'll get into that. Remember the chess cheating scandal from a couple of weeks ago?
Bzz.
We have an update. Sorry, you're off of vacation. I'm going to give you a freebie.
No.
You a freebie
It's all right. You knew what I did, though.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Got an update on that. The Braves' magic number is now 1. They got to win one more game, and they win the division. We'll talk about that. And the doctor who cleared Tua to get back in the game has been fired. Want to talk more about that story. That's all coming up in Hour 3 of the Rob Brown Show right here on the Fan Upstate. Steven. It's Carolina versus Pittsburgh, December 18th for the number 1 draft pick, and James said Houston runs in and makes it a triple threat.
As I said while you were out of the room, I think the Panthers are going to win a couple more games. I don't think they're going to be in it. Because, again, if you want them to be, they need to lose a lot of games. And I
know you're an anti-tank guy.
I am.
I might just go ahead and fire everybody. Might as well. What's the benefit of being a 5-win team versus a 1-win team?
Yeah, but you're also telling the team, hey, you're already kind of tanking by having Ben Mcadoo as your offensive coordinator. If you want to tank, just leave him in that position and you're going to tank. I don't want to act like I've taken a heel turn towards Mcadoo, but I see the real villain in the room. Others do not.
Spartanburg's press box.
Yeah, I haven't been there since the new one was built. They used to do their games at Wofford.
Yeah.
So I haven't been
Their
there.
press box probably, I haven't been there yet, but they're probably rivals Wofford's. You want to hear what happened and why we were grabbing equipment out of the box? When we started the broadcast and I hooked everything up, the hotspot that I've used to connect the Comrex, I turned it on and it says this hotspot does not have a data plan. Would you like to purchase one?
Yeah, I've seen that before.
And I was like, uh-oh.
That's always fun.
Uh-oh. So I called Chris and I'm like, what do I do? And he's like, I don't know. He's like, is there anywhere you can hardwire? So I went and grabbed the Spartanburg at high school PR guy. And I'm like, hey, man, is there a hardwire? He's like, let me run you one. So they ran me a hardwire. So we were able to do it. If we'd have been in Burns, I'd have been in trouble. So anyway.
That was cool if they ran you one, though.
Yeah, well, I mean, I say run me one. There's a hardwire connection in their press box is segmented. Like everybody gets their own little booth, right? With windows that open up.
Do they have food?
They did. I didn't get any, but they
I was
did.
going to say Dorman has food. I know they do, so.
It was a college football game.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. So they go, yeah, and they turn around and they bring me to the back of the booth and he pops open a panel and there's a hardwire in there. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. This is nicer than most of the colleges I've been at in the past. Steven just said that Tepper got booed during Sam Mills' Hall of Fame induction. Ouch. Ouch.
Wow, did I not do that? I guess I didn't. Huh.
The final, the best, the money hour of the Rob Brown Show goes now. This is the Fan Upstate. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is great to be with you again. I am Rob Brown. The great one, Lonzo, makes his triumphant return from vacation and reoccupies his rightful throne in charge of this radio station as a whole. Sitting over on the other side of the metaphorical glass. 844-FAN phone, 844-FANFONE, 844-326-3663. You can shoot us a text on the Preferred Home Services text line at 71307, 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N. And tweet us at The Rob Brown Show, at Lonzo on Word. If you want to get in on the Twitter game, you can do it. Texter says, this fishing scandal is the best thing in a long time. I I didn't know what the fishing scandal was. Are you aware of this fishing scandal, Lonzo?
Yeah, I heard it. It was on DA. They were talking about it when I was setting everything up this morning.
I missed it. I can't believe I missed this. Jason Fisher directs the Lake Erie Walleye Trail Fishing Tournament. They were doing an event in Ohio. A team took first place in this tournament. They won $29,000 for winning this fishing tournament. And then they got disqualified. They got DQ'd. Why? According to Jason Fisher, director of the tournament, he told CNN that he became suspicious after the team weighed in and said that their fish weighed almost twice what he expected they would have at the Cleveland Championship weigh-in. They brought in walleye. Walleye traditionally weigh around 4 pounds. Total weight of their fish indicated that those fish would be averaging around 7 pounds each. Fisher, the most appropriately named person in America today, said, quote, "I thought there's just no way. I could also hear the crowd grumbling like, no way, there's no way. I physically felt the fish. I could feel hard objects inside the fish." Fisher discovered the alleged cheating was documented in now several viral videos that have been posted to social media that show Fisher surrounded by competitors slice open the fish with a knife and pull out lead weights. Now, the audio of this is pretty spectacular and very not FCC friendly. And considering that I did not know about this scandal until right now, I have not had the chance to go grab it and look at it. Fisher, after the weigh-in, the guy that I assume is Fisher, right after the fish go on the scale, and they check in hefty, it shows the man grabbing the fish out of the bucket that they were in for the weigh-in, pulling them out, like you can see him evaluating the fish. They take the fish over to the side after the weigh-in, and they start gutting these fish. Now, ordinarily, you wouldn't do that to a tournament fish in this spot. At least, as far as I can tell, I have been to precisely one fishing tournament in my life, right? Destin, Florida, in October, is the Fishing Rodeo. It is a 1-month-long deep-sea fishing tournament that takes place in Destin. It's big. Boats from all over the country come to Destin to participate in the rodeo. And there's a category for every fish. Billfish, snapper, grouper, yada, yada, yada. And ordinarily, when they bring these fish in, they weigh these fish. And then the owners of the fish, whoever caught the fish, will then take the fish, right? You go cut them up later or make some sandwiches or whatever. But there is a moment where I guess the competitor from the losing team is over on the side. They gut the fish. They pull a lead weight out of the fish. And the dude who would have been second is in the face of the dude that cheated. And it's just like, bleep, yeah! Like Tiger Woods fist pumping in the dude's face.
Well, I mean, those weights meant he gets money. He
$29,000.
Yeah, he just got an upgrade, so of course he's going to be happy. And
Daddy's getting a new motor.
So, yeah, that ought to about cover it. I am curious. So it's 2 guys who did this. Did one of the guys go, yeah, put one more in there? Is that too much? No.
Yeah.
No.
So the thing is about cheating. All right. Now I much like the guy accused of using vibrating sex toys in the cheating scandal in chess a few weeks ago. When I was younger.
Also had to do with putting things in things.
I'm going to just let that one marinate for a second. When I was younger, I may have occasionally added a couple of soldiers to the board when I was playing Risk,
That's unacceptable.
I know.
I mean, if you can't dominate the world without cheating.
Not when your little brother is across the board from you. You figure it out. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
So you were felt inferior by his intellect, and so you had to,
No, I just wanted to beat his ass at everything.
Okay, I just,
That's all. Whatever it takes, man. This dude.
I don't know why I'm trying to get in good with your brother.
I don't either. He's not even listening.
Just because it would bother you, maybe.
Not even listening. So the whole premise of cheating, right, is like to not get caught. You doubled the weight of this fish. You doubled the weight of the fish, and thought that walleye are like a 5.5, 6 pound. Let's see, what's the world record for heaviest walleye caught? World record walleye. Was it a walleye? Was that the right fish? Am I looking at the right fish? Walleye, yeah. Well, the world record walleye is 22 pounds, 11 ounces.
That's pretty big.
Yeah. So, okay, maybe it's not quite as dramatic as I thought.
If you fish those waters and you've been competitive before in that place, so you know what the average weight that wins probably is. And so then you take a chance. If you're going to cheat, you don't try to double the weight. You just try to, put a little bit more into it.
Okay. The website wideopenspaces.com. This is like a hunting and fishing website.
Sounds like a country song.
Wide Open Spaces. It is. It's by the Dixie Chicks. Great band. Love the Chicks.
You would.
Love the Chicks.
You would.
They're spectacular. Apparently, the 22-pound walleye, which has set the record, apparently there is some controversy and potential cheating ongoing with that fish too. That's gone back to 1996. When some members of Outdoor Life claim that the largest walleye ever caught may have been weighed incorrectly. Apparently, the walleye fishing community is just a hive of scum and villainy.
So normally we would be getting those complaint texts. Why ain't you talk about my tigers, but you talk about fishing, and that's their second? So they're okay with that.
The moment when the fish was gutted and a lead ball got pulled out, Jacob Runyon was one member of the two-person team that allegedly cheated, stood by silently while the other team started celebrating. One person is heard yelling at Runyon, "You just lost everything." Runyon and his teammate Chase Kaminsky were set to win $28,760 in prize money. And now they get nothing but shame upon their houses.
Do you go to another country, change your name, and competitive fish there? I mean, or is your career over? I guess your career is over, right?
I think you're done, right? You got to be.
At least you're big money fishing.
Yeah. This is spectacular. Thank you for the heads up, Texter. I had no idea that there was such drama in the world of competitive walleye fishing.
We had Bassmasters here a couple of years ago. It was a pretty big deal. So
yeah, but as far as I understand, the people on the bass fishing tour, those are good, honorable people. These walleye fishermen,
I was just talking about
dregs of society.
I'm talking about from followings and how many people are into it and everything. They had it at the well actually.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I almost went to that. I know I talked to Diesel about it, and he was going to go. And the Bassmasters dudes are real good dudes, but I've also been to those tournaments before. Those fish, and also I think, Zoe, the bass at Bassmasters, you have to bring the bass in alive.
Yeah, we used to have an outdoor show on our sister station, WORD, and we had that was on every weekend. And they would have different guys on as guests. If you cheated on those guys, they would take you out.
Sure.
Those are guys you do not want to cheat on. So I'm imagining fishermen are like that everywhere. So now I got to go watch this video and see if it was about to get real.
Brendan says that walleye scam, those dudes were about to get jumped. It looked like they were. I haven't heard the video, but I've watched it now.
Were they wearing, basically NASCAR stuff with all the patches on it and everything?
Competitive fishing's a big freaking deal. Like, there's tens of thousands of dollars of sponsorships on it.
You know, you whack somebody with your rod.
Dude, these guys are nuts. Brennan said at the Destin Fishing Rodeo, they don't weigh the fish unless it's gutted, so this wouldn't be possible. Yeah, so like most places, like you couldn't get away with this, but I guess this walleye tournament just learned their lesson. A hive of scum and villainy.
Well, it's on Lake Erie. I mean, you know.
No, I don't, Lonzo. I've never been there before.
Yeah,
is
me
that
neither.
some Ohio,
Actually,
Michigan smack talk I'm unaware of?
It was. And actually, I guess I have been near Lake Erie before.
Texter said, all I know is that the walleye folks are getting the side eye from now on. Golf clap at best.
Not bad.
Golf
Not
clap.
bad.
Golf clap. I don't know, man. I don't know. This is drama at its highest. The only cheating scandal that had more play than this was the chess cheating scandal from a couple of weeks back. You remember the one where a couple of the biggest players in the world suggested that the 19-year-old grandmaster was cheating by having a vibrating sex toy in his back door that was going off, hooked up to AI, telling him when he was making a good versus a bad move. Well, Magnus Carlsen, Magnus Carlsen was lined up to play that guy again, right? Hans Niemann. He was slated to play him again in an online match. Magnus got into the match, which was being played virtually, made one move, and then just logged off. Just rage quit the game. Ultimate gamer move, bro. Well, since then, Magnus Carlsen has put out a statement that straight up accuses Hans Niemann of cheating. He does not mention any particular play and how he cheated. But he put out a statement that said he made an unprecedented professional decision to withdraw from the tournament after his 3-round game against Hans Niemann. A week later, during the Champions Chess Tour, I resigned against Hans Niemann after playing only one move. And he straight up accuses him of cheating.
Hang on, Tom.
The drama is real, ladies and gentlemen, in the fishing world and in the chess world. This is unbelievable. What is sports coming to? What is sports coming to? Since we upgraded this computer, I don't have my call screening software, so I don't know who's there.
Oh, okay. So we've got I was talking about that outdoor show,
Yeah.
and Tommy Springer has actually called in. Who is?
Mike!
Yeah. He's
I like it.
He knows a lot about fishing.
Tommy, break this cheating scandal down because it is rocking the sports world right now.
Well, I'm surprised you didn't see violence, Rob, because that's about what fishermen do.
So have you seen the video? Have you seen the video of this?
No, I didn't know nothing about it till you and Lonzo got to talking about it, and I was like, do what? And I was like, unreal. And then Lonzo throwed an old shout out to the old show, and hell, I had to call, Rob.
I like it. So here's what happened, Tommy. What happened is that in a walleye tournament, these guys got back to the weigh-in. They weighed in their fish, and their fish checked in at like almost twice as heavy as the guy running the event expected them to be, right? Like walleye on average are going to be around 3 to 4 pounds, and these fish were weighing upwards of 7 pounds. So they were like, nah, we got to check this out. They gutted the fish, and they were pulling lead balls, like lead fishing weight, big lead fish, like deep sea fishing weights out of the inside of these fish. And the crowd turned on these cats, and I haven't gotten to hear it yet, but from what people in our Facebook chat are telling me, the crowd was ready to beat these dudes' asses because of this, Tommy.
I believe that, Rob. And another thing, too, if you've got that many lead balls in a fish that's that kind of slender, it's gonna look really awkward if you get my drift. It's just gonna not look right at all. I just don't know what they were thinking. I mean, I've seen people get in fights. You know, I was born and raised on the Gulf Coast before I moved here in Orange Beach. I've seen people get in fights on the dock because they were cheating and tweaking weight, and it just got violent. You know, you throw alcohol and cheating fishing in, it's gonna get violent. That's the way I see it. So, but I enjoy y'all's show, and y'all make me laugh every day. And shout out to the old people at the radio station, and y'all just keep on trucking. And don't get caught cheat fishing. You might get your ass whooped.
You might get your ass whooped. Tommy, appreciate you, buddy. Thanks for checking in. I love that. I love that. Well, I've been around fishing my whole life. It is absolutely take it seriously. Before we go to break, I have to get you the next most ridiculous thing that has happened to sports in a very long time. We have talked fishing scandal. We have talked chess scandal. Now we have to talk about DK Metcalf. Have you seen what happened with DK? DK in the Seattle Seahawks game against Detroit was carted off the field. And
wait a minute. So, because he had to go.
Hold, please.
Sorry.
Hold, please. DK Metcalf gets brought off the field on the cart, right? Now he's sitting up. His legs are hanging off the side of the cart. He's sitting up. There are 9.5 minutes left in a 41-31 ball game, Seattle in charge. DK Metcalf gets carted off of the field, okay? The announcers are losing their mind, like, we have not heard about an injury to DK Metcalf, but this is big for the Seahawks. They're up 10 on the Lions. They're trying to keep it together here. Like, this is big. So DK disappears. Then he makes his way back to the game later, and everybody's like, uh-oh. Like, what happened? Was it a tweak? Did he have to get the ankle taped up? I'm just going to read you the tweet that DK Metcalf put up about it, Lonzo, and get your reaction. DK Metcalf tweeted after the game, and I quote directly, "That clinch walk wouldn't have made it," end quote.
At least he's more of a man than Lamar was. Lamar's still denying it.
That clinch walk.
Hey, we've all done that.
The clinch walk.
Yeah, we all know what that is.
You have all misjudged the amount of time that you have remaining between you and an emergency.
Especially when it's a sudden thing and you're like, oh, and you're clinching and you're like, yeah, so, okay.
Yep. We have all, everybody in this line of business, Lonzo, has gotten that urge right in the middle of a segment. And all you can do is sit up straight in the chair and freaking hold on. Just hold on. Yeah, let's, we gotta run to a break just a couple of minutes early here. Got some technical difficulties. I'll be right. We've all done it. Apparently, according to DK himself.
Now everyone's going to look when you walk away to see if you're clinch walking every single time.
According to DK Metcalf, DK had a BM that was working its way to emergency critical mass point.
Shout out to the guys driving the cart, though. Ain't no way I'm doing that without laughing the whole time I'm driving.
Here's the thing. What did because the guy driving the cart is like stone face, like stone killer. I've got to get this slow ass golf cart to the locker room ASAP. What did DK tell that guy, right? Because like I suspect if you're a player and you just walk over and hop on the cart and go like, I need to get to the locker room, right? The med staff is going to be all over you. Like, what's wrong, guy? Did you roll your ankle? Is your wrist tweaked? Is your knee kind of giving shit? Like, what's going on that you're feeling so shaky right now that you need a cart ride to the locker room? And DK was just like, I I should probably change my number from 14 to 2, if you get me. DK, are you good? He said that clinch walk wouldn't have made it. I mean, I get it, right? A lot of times athletes do some dumb boat that I'm like, I don't understand what you're doing here. This one is an emergency we all understand. Every one of us has been in a work meeting and then just been like, ruh-oh, I need a break. Can we take a $5 right now?
I think DK is a hero because he's willing to fess up and say he just had to go.
I respect it.
And everyone's been there. Yeah.
He absolutely could have said
Come on, Lamar.
anything.
Come on, Lamar. Let us know. Let us know.
Had he said, I felt a little dehydrated. I felt like I was close to falling out a little bit. And I just wanted to make sure I got to the locker room for a quick IV to get some fluids, some electrolytes, and then I'm back. We'd have all been like, oh, okay. That makes sense. Nope. DK's like, dude, I had to poop. What do you want?
I wish you would have just said, hey, man, bean burritos last night.
Yeah. I had some of those street tacos in Seattle, and the ramifications were there. Unreal. Way to go, DK. Way to just own it, DK. Let's take a break. We're back after this on the Rob Brown Show. Rob Alonzo and you on the Fan Upstate.
QC.
We're right back. Stream. Don't go anywhere.
Never back. Yeah, Steven, that would work, but what color would the swoosh be?
Steven jumped in with the ultimate joke in the DK story. Nike should just pick up DK's brand and tag it with a slag and just do it. Brilliant. Brilliant, Steven.
Read.
Excellent work.
All right, so that counts. Read the one above it.
Richard said you don't know pain until you're driving that UPS truck and have to go, like really go with nowhere to go. The old, that because it goes from the clinch walk to basically turning your truck into what DK Metcalf turned that. It went from the, I was going to make a Pope Mobile joke, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that.
Too easy.
The Pope Mobile to the Poop Mobile. I
All
did
right,
it anyway.
You did it anyway. You couldn't help yourself.
I couldn't not do it. Could not do it. Trey, I'm not reading that because I'm sure you have people listening to the show that know you and us. So I'm not reading that.
Where'd he get the sock?
Oh my God. This show has gone down the crapper.
You know, in the meantime, the Southern Conference has issued a statement on officiating.
Let's reset that real quick. So in the Furman-Sanford game, there was a moment that I've never seen happen before. A Furman defender smoked a Bulldog wide receiver. At contact, the receiver lost the ball. It never hit the ground. The Paladin defensive back was able to take the ball from him, roll down to the ground down. It was initially ruled down by contact, right? Not with the ground, but down by loss of forward momentum. The officials decided to come out and do an instant replay challenge, which was the correct decision. They replayed it. They came back out and said, after reviewing the play, the call on the field is overturned. It is a fumble recovered by Furman, 1st and 10 Paladins. The offense for Furman was coming back out onto the field. The defense for Sanford was coming out on the field. They both got held off on the sideline. About, and I'm not exaggerating, 4 to 5 minutes later, the instant replay booth comes back out. The ref goes back under the hood, comes back out and says, under further review, the ruling on the play stands. The receiver was down by loss of forward momentum. It remains a Sanford ball. About 4 plays later, Sanford would punch it into the end zone for a touchdown. They would ultimately win by a touchdown. Nobody on the field understood the call. Nobody in the stadium understood the call. Hell, I'm pretty sure that the Sanford fans recognized that they got away with one there. And then Dan Scott, the voice of the Paladins, checked in and put a statement up from the Southern Conference, Lonzo, and it reads.
All right, so that's like 2. I want to count the one earlier. I'm already at 3. All right, after review of a play in question during the Furman-Sanford football game on October 1st, the Southern Conference's coordinator of officials believes there were significant errors in the officials' approach and final ruling. The conference has enacted disciplinary measures for the officials and will have no further comment on the matter.
Cool.
In other words, our bad.
Yep. That's on us, y'all. That's on us. That's bad.
Although, in fairness, whenever this happens in any sport and they have to issue an apology about officials, how could they fix it? Other than going back and playing the game from that point, you can't fix it.
Which sucks.
And you can't overturn the game because how much? Even though there's enough game left that other things could have happened. Yeah,
this was in like the beginning of the second quarter, right? But Furman gets the ball in that spot. Even if they're well in field goal range, even if they only get a field goal there, the outcome of the game is different at that point. Instead, Sanford got the extra possession. They took it to the house and scored. It's exactly the amount of points that they would win by. Listen, nobody's perfect. Mistakes happen, right? We all know that. Nobody's perfect. Mistakes happen. But there's a difference between a mistake and an egregious error that was made twice, right? The initial call, getting that wrong, that's a mistake. I get it. Because the guy got slammed. He stayed on the ground catching his breath for a minute. He got hit. I get not getting that call right. Because both the wide receiver and the defensive back went to the ground and the ball was between them. So I get erring on the side of caution. But the first replay that came up was very, very obvious. Very obvious on replay that the Paladin defensive back ended up with the rock. I mean, very obvious that he ended up with the rock. And they overturned it correctly. And I'm like, good, done, awesome, let's play football. What I really want to know, and we're never going to find out, was why they went to a second replay, right? Why did they go to a second replay? What was the point? Like, what did you see, right? Because the rule is officials are not supposed to be looking at the Jumbotron, right? Ask any official. I've told you guys about Jason Autry, the D1 ref that I used to work for. And I'll tell you, officials are not supposed to look at the Jumbotron. They look at the field and the replay monitor, and that's it. So what did they see, or what did they get told? What triggered the instant replay? What triggered the replay of the replay they already replayed? I want to know that. I want the Southern Conference, I want the officials on the field that day to explain what it was that sent them back to the replay booth to then get the call wrong that they had already gotten right. They correctly reversed it and then incorrectly unreversed it. It bothers me, Lonzo, that they ended that statement with, "We will have no further comment." It bothers me that they ended that statement with, "Quit asking."
I have spoken.
Yeah.
That's basically what they've said. So
Yeah.
that's it. We're done. You know.
This is some Viserys Targaryen, I am the king and what I say goes, do not ask again.
But at the same time, I mean, I get their point. You can keep asking questions about it. They screwed up. We reprimanded them. They're not saying how. I mean, maybe they took money away from the guys. Maybe they took games away from them. Who knows? But what does further questioning do? I mean, because if the outcome's not going to be changed, you're just asking the same question in a different way.
This is similar to the discussion that we have had when you get frustrated when after a W, I dive into what went wrong in the game, right?
Well, just like last night during the football game, and well, coach, what do you need to do to do better in the second half? Play better. I mean, it's there's no point even having the sideline reporter ask the coach questions. It makes no sense. It's just a visibility thing. That's all it is.
When you say play better, there's a million things that can go into that, right? Tackle better, run better, block better.
Yeah.
Like that's the obvious
stuff.
No.
And that's usually the standard answer from all these coaches.
No. I agree with you there. There is a process. There are protocols as to why these decisions get made, right? There is a process as to what triggers the replay, how the replay is run, what the official looks at during the replay.
I have never heard of a replay of a replay. I've never heard that.
That's what I'm saying.
That's ever.
To say we will have no further comment on the matter is basically saying, all right, listen, we know that you guys did not go through the protocols as the protocols are written down. You guys did not do this the way that we are told this process works. Why? Saying no further comment on this matter is basically saying, y'all know we screwed up. We know we screwed up. We know that it screwed Furman potentially out of a win since Sanford scored 4 plays later.
Now, see, if this would have happened in Sanford Stadium, you'd kind of get it. I mean, it wouldn't be. I mean, you'd be thinking it's some. No. You'd be thinking. No. What I'm saying is, you'd be thinking some home cooking. But in this case, it happened in Paladin Stadium.
I would even disagree with that, because while I understand the concept of home cooking, this is like we made up a whole nother set of rules, right? Whole nother set of rules. Home cooking is like when there's a clear and obvious hold on a guy that gets around the outside edge and it's not called.
Or when,
that's home cooking.
When a clock keeps running when it's supposed to stop,
right.
Things like that.
That's home cooking. What's not home cooking is, yeah, we replayed it, but we didn't like it, so we're going to replay it again.
Because I'm just picturing someone buzzing down going, no.
Right. And no comment, saying we will have no further comment on this matter is basically saying we screwed up. Y'all knew we screwed up. We know we screwed up, but we really don't want to answer questions about it, right? We don't really want to answer questions and tell you why it was so bad.
Well, you can
just stop asking.
You could ask that question over and over again, and they'll say, mistakes were made. The people who made the mistakes are being reprimanded. We hope this won't happen again.
No,
I mean, what yeah, but what do you want is what I'm saying.
That is understandable if the official makes a mistake with the time, right? Like he lets 6 seconds roll off the clock before he stops it and he doesn't get a fix. That's a mistake.
Should he be let out in shackles and put in that thing that name? What's the name of that thing? I forget what that's called.
The stockade?
Yeah.
Nope.
So tomatoes can be thrown and insults can be hurled at them?
Nope.
That's what should happen?
I'm trying to tell you. Here's what should happen. The Southern Conference should come out. They should lay out the protocols and explain exactly why a second replay happened. Right? Have you ever seen that before in any level of football?
I already said I hadn't. There is no reason. So if you have no reason, if they don't know why that this person just decided on their own that they wanted to do it, it's the first time it's been done. So you have no explanation, answer for it.
There is in that building.
I don't want anyone to think I'm defending this person. I'm defending the fact that when you answer a question, sometimes that's it. You're not going to get anything else out of it.
There is in that building on Saturday a Southern Conference representative, a Southern Conference official, and an NCAA official. And their jobs are to make sure that the protocols and the rules are followed. There is no protocol that says a second instant replay if the referee just really doesn't like the first one is okay. It's not there. So tell me, I want to know the names of the decision makers between the ref blowing the first whistle and them overturning the second overturn. Why? I want to know the names.
You're the person when someone says, I'm sorry, you keep pursuing it, and they keep saying, yeah, but I'm sorry, and you keep pursuing it, and you say,
because I'm sorry is not good enough.
Yeah, but I'm sorry. I can give you nothing else, but I'm sorry.
I want to know why the mistake was made. I want to know the thought process that went into the mistake being made.
Have you ever done something?
Know what to do to fix it.
And I know you have. Have you ever did something and then went, man, I have no idea why I did that? You've did that a bunch of times. We all have. And this could be one of those cases. Asking them over and over again is not going to, you're going to get the same result. You're never going to get satisfaction from it. So it sucks for Furman. It absolutely does. But you just got to move on. I mean,
No, you got to move on because you can't do anything about the game.
Right. That's the whole point.
I do want to make sure it never happens again.
Right.
And no, listen. I understand the premise of I don't know what I was thinking, except yes, you do. You just don't know why you were. There is a difference between I don't know what I was thinking and I don't know why I was thinking what I was thinking.
Or you come out and say, hey, Carmine was in the area. He said, I'm watching you.
Furman -4 is what it comes down to.
There you go. I mean, we can take it to that.
No, it's bad, man. It's bad. It's just a bad look overall. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll wrap this bad boy up. Rob Alonzo and you. It's the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
Zach Ertz. So Juan Thornhill is out here asking should he play two-hand touch. Did you see what he got called on?
Mm-mm.
I will. I'll send it to you real quick on Twitter. This was considered, I think it was unnecessary roughness. And I think this is a case that this play got called for unnecessary roughness because of the sound of the pop.
I'm assuming they're gonna say because they thought he was going to the head and shoulders, but he clearly doesn't.
No, he doesn't.
That's a clean hit. I mean, it's a hard hit.
That's why he's saying, should I start playing two-hand touch or something?
That's a clean hit.
Yeah, it is.
That's shoulder pad.
But
into
the
shoulder
pop,
pad.
the pop.
Oh, it's a violent
the
hit.
The pop sounded like helmet to helmet, even though it wasn't. And so he got called for that.
Here, I'll put it up on the.
Should you?
On the stream. So
Last time you
see
put
it.
something up, we got.
No, this is a clip. This is fine. Yeah, that's as clean of a hit as it gets.
I mean, was it violent? Yeah, but it's football. I mean, football is violent.
The only thing they might get him for is that he's looking down at the ground and his head is down. But the face mask is never close to contact.
You know why? If he turns his head,
he's going helmet to helmet.
He's going helmet to helmet.
That's as clean of a hit as it gets. That's shoulder pad to shoulder pad. He shrugs through it. That's as clean of a hit as you can ask for. There's nothing illegal about that hit at any point.
And
he never even touches Mike Evans' helmet.
Yeah, and some people celebrated that Evans got hit like that, just because of last couple of weeks. But still,
I'm sure Marshawn Lattimore did.
Yeah, I mean it was a good hit, and I'm just like,
hit.
what? Why? If I recall, even Collinsworth was baffled. Well, it ain't gonna matter because that is not going to work. You heard me knock something over because I kept thinking there was still something wrong. They reversed the keyboards and the mice.
All that.
And I keep reaching over there and it's the wrong one. And since I'm not going to look at the mouse. I have no problem with you making it your own to make yourself more comfortable, but put it back when you're done. Someday this will be yours, but it's not yet.
Someday.
Exactly, Brandon. I mean, they really just, Have you seen the Andy Reid commercial yet?
Yes.
Oh, that was great.
Very funny.
That was great.
Very funny.
Especially when he throws the marker away when he's talking to Mahomes. Like, oh, that was good. Watch your audio, mister. Well, this show went by fast.
Show presents Twitter Trending Topics.
I could have waited till you actually said a word. I think
I kind of thought you were.
that was awesome. I hope to do that again tomorrow. Time for Twitter Trending Topics, where I tell Rob what is trending on the internet, and he tells us why it is indeed trending. This first one I know he doesn't know probably, but he should, and I can't wait till after the show. Ironheart is trending.
So, I know Ironheart's coming, and I know Ironheart's going to be in Black Panther 2, and I know I'm super jazzed about Black Panther 2, and then I know there's a spin-off series about it.
By the way, the new trailer just dropped. I've watched it 3 times because it's jumping up on my feed, but I haven't been able to hear it. And
I'm not watching until I can hear it.
Yeah, because you see Ironheart in
Dope.
in
Dope.
and you actually see anyway, I know it's spoilery. I mean, so I'll stop.
3 minutes, I'm going to watch it.
I had to tell you why it was trending.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I had to do that. All right, the next thing that's trending is Deshaun Watson.
So the Browns fall to Atlanta as Jacoby Brissett.
How about that Mariota guy?
How about that Mariota guy?
Where's Atlanta ranked right now?
Atlanta is above New Orleans in the NFC South right now, above Carolina in the NFC South right now. I don't know. Are the Cleveland fans ready?
Yeah, I think they are.
Are they ready for the hatred for their football program that this is going to bring from literally everybody else in the league?
Well, it just took one loss this latest loss by Jacoby, and now they're ready.
I think so.
Yeah, that's what it is. They're ready to deal with what they're going to. Now, speaking of losses, #Fire Rule is trending. I don't know why. I don't know.
No idea.
Does that need some explanation as to?
As was pointed out by, who was it, Steven earlier that was at the game on Sunday up in Charlotte? Steven said that David Tepper was booed by Panthers fans during the Sam Mills Hall of Fame induction, right? Arguably the most well-beloved Panther of all time. They were giving him his big pregame Hall of Fame ceremony, and when they introduced the owner of the team, David Tepper, he got loudly booed by Panthers fans. When Matt Rule was going through his motions, the chants of fire rule started ripping around the 2/3 full Bank of America Stadium. The turnout was pathetic coming off of a win. And I hate to say it, but the team's just boring right now, right? It's just boring right now. Great win last week, but I'm not surprised.
But wait. You know what's not boring? Views from Main Street.
Correct.
And where we are going to break down everything that happened in the game. We're just going to go off and just get angry and yell and scream and say things on the podcast that we can't possibly say on the air. So you need to make sure that you download and check it out later.
For the record, I am more well-behaved on the podcast than I am on
Yeah,
this show.
I'm trying to work on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really trying to work on that.
I can start dropping some make Lonzo uncomfortable moments if you want.
Cursing doesn't have to be a part of it. You can make me uncomfortable other ways. You can agree with me that Ben Mcadoo is the problem. That would make me comfortable. That would
problem.
That would let me know that I'm right.
Anyway, I was going to make another DK Metcalf joke, but I can't. I can't do it. Can't do it.
I appreciate your restraint. Which he will have none of that on the Views from Mint Street today.
Available where major podcasts are found. Make sure you download and subscribe. Y'all have a great rest of your day. Make sure you drop as many DK Metcalf jokes on Offsides today as you can fit in on the text line. See you guys back here tomorrow for the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Later, brother. All right, you guys are awesome. Go Braves. Love it.
By the way, I'm really glad to be back.
And Lonzo's glad to be back.